Oh, I've actually got Bacchus mod that anonymizes the score and stuff like that, so my score is always going to be 0. And it says one of the guys is Yuri,
It's
so it's just from Bacchus mod. But
yeah, I just got Powerslide for like 3 weeks ago.
okay. All right, so I'm just going to talk in general about like defensive rotation for a minute.
Yeah.
So when you are coming into net, so obviously the ball is coming in on the right side, and let me back this up here. All right, so you're coming in on the left side. You either have two options at any point. So like say the ball is coming in on the right side of the field, right?
Yeah.
You have two options generally speaking when you're going for making a defensive play. You can either come in to the net and come parallel with it, so you go along with the goal line and then attack whenever you need to. Or your other option is you come in near post, you go in the net, and you do a little turn and you
Yeah.
face the play that way. I think since you did a little bit of a combination of both of them, I think what you ended up doing here was you went in the net, and then by the time you turned, it wasn't. I think you basically did the wrong one. You went in the net by the
Yeah.
time you drove in here. So I think if you just happened to come along parallel with it and you kind of waited here at this the near post, then you could have actually waited for the ball to come in, and you could have taken it here on the goal line.
Yeah.
So just something to note about that. I'll watch that from that perspective again. And you can see how you went on the goal line here, but I think the difference now is that you maybe wait on the near post right here and then attack when you need to. Also, another thing to note here is by the time you're getting to this position, you can see that half of the net is actually behind you. And that's why I think it makes it hard, because by the time this ball comes here, it may not be behind you, but this space is also pretty hard to reach if it's pretty high up. So
yes, so it should be more like in the back post.
Yeah, if you were right here, then you know that you can actually cover more of the net, right? So that way you can cover this entire area. So that would make it a little bit easier rather than pushing up this far. So, and it's only that, the difference is only like this much, right? But that's what allows you, because now your field of view, your coverage area is like this, whereas, you have basically the whole net in front of you. So. All right. Yeah, kind of the same thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, if you just stopped on that near post right here, and you actually stay on the goal line, if you kind of stay literally on the goal line here, you have a better reaction time, because now that you pushed up just this little bit, it's a little harder to react, and you got to kind of go back. So, yeah, I think if you just stayed right along the goal line here on the near post, then you can kind of move forward and you flip. Then the idea is that when you go for the save, when you come along this way, you actually will hit the ball in this direction. Then you hit it to the corner, and you both go this way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that guy had a really good position on his shot again. One thing to note here too is that after your teammate goes for this kickoff, he's still pushing up on it, right? So at this point, you don't know who is over here. You don't know where the blue guys are. You don't know if he's in net or where he's at. So you have to respect the fact that your teammate is facing this way. I would say just to stop right here, or just do like a little zigzag turn, just kind of, drive sideways or just brake and see where you want to go.
Yes.
1 second, sorry.
It's fine.
All right. Sorry about that. I had somebody talking to me.
It's fine.
Yeah, but I think the idea here is that if you wait just a little bit longer, you'll see, because at this point you don't know if your teammate is going to go for the ball or if he's going to go for the boost. So I think when you push up here, you're kind of crossing both of those lines, you know, and you have a potential to bump him or to double commit, and you still have 0 boost here.
Yeah.
So you're both in a really like close area together. So all they have to do is just get it over you, and they can basically get it over you pretty quick. There we go. Nice shot there. After this replay, I think I'll go over in free play myself, and I'll cover more of the questions about the aerials and the air roll and stuff like that.
Yes, it's totally fine.
Good kickoff by your teammate there. Ooh, not bad. I would say, if anything, you see how fast you're going.
Yeah.
I think if you slow down, similarly to like when you were dropping back into net, I think you're just trying to fly back as quick as you can. Here, you don't actually have to hit the ball hard. You just have to get the underside of the ball.
Yeah.
To keep it in the air. But because you're flying so fast at it, you can see that by the time you actually go up, since you're going up so fast, by the time you get to the ball and turn into it and try to get a shot on net, it's actually just on the side of the ball. So by the time you hit it, it's going down. Whereas if you just take your time and just hit it up, you can always use your boost to follow it in the air again and get like 1 or 2 more touches, you know?
Yeah. I have a question for that too in the free play.
Okay. Yeah, we can go over that. But I just wanted to kind of watch that again here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa. Weird hit by your teammate there.
Randoms.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so one of the things about the rotation, obviously he hit this. So now your goal at this point, because you guys are so close to each other, is to just drop back to net.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of get away from him for just a second, you know, do a little loop and do one of these, you know, that way he knows he can push out, or even if he drops back, you know, you just stay back if you need to, and just get out of his way, basically.
Yes.
Because, yeah, now, even when you guys push up out of net, you guys are still pushing out together. So you got to kind of wait. And actually, that little bit of movement here, you see how you start to push out with him, and then you're like, oh, no, he's going to go. So I got to go back. Well, now, even as you push out, I think you're pushing out a little too fast here. Because now, by the time you push out, you're like, oh, no, this is a shot. Whereas if you just stayed in net and did a back post rotation, you know, if you did one of these, you would be much ready. You'd be more ready for this. So that way, by the time this comes in, you know, this may not even, I don't know if this was actually going to go straight in or not. It might have been, you know, low in the net, something like here. You know, you could have had a much better clear than where you are. You know, you can see how far you're pushed out of net.
Yeah.
But did a good job of getting it to the corner. I'd say if you can, try to hit this to the actual, like, corner. You don't want to hit this, you know, this 45-degree area, because then it'll bounce straight out back to them. So I'd say your best option is actually, like, right in here. Because then it's actually going to, if you hit it right here, it's actually going to roll along the wall like this.
Yeah.
Another good option is actually, anywhere here along your backboard, because then by the time it bounces, it's actually going to be, you know, in the corner still. So it could have been maybe just a little bit harder towards the corner, but overall pretty good. Not bad. Ooh, yeah. I think again, you're trying to keep your speed up a little too much, maybe.
Yeah.
So by the time you're going for this, you have way too much forward momentum to be able to hit this, because yeah, you're trying to turn towards the play. I think that's a common theme here. Nice demo. Not bad. Yeah, you could have taken that too.
Yeah.
But, ooh, good touch. I like the power slide there. That was good.
Thanks. Sad.
Yeah, but then good demoed. Ooh, okay. So this is a good thing to talk about here. You're in a perfect spot right here. So I'm going to talk about like option coverage, like is what Luke calls it. So when you think about a play coming up in offense now, I've talked a lot about like where to be in defense. But if the play is progressing this way on the field, if you have a much better position of being here, because you can cover, okay, think of like what can happen from this scenario. Okay, either this guy, say the ball gets beat, right, and it goes back down the wall this way. Now, if you're here, you can still turn and try to cover this option. If the ball is going this way and you're pushing up here, the other option is that it comes mid, right? So say he gets a 50-50 out mid and it comes this way, it comes to you. Well, you're right in line with it. So you're covering both of these options here. You're covering those two. And then you're also covering the third option. So you can always turn infield as well and go for a shot. Say he actually gets like a decent pass. That's option 3. Then the other option is that, okay, maybe there's some weird pinch, right? And it goes across the field, right? And then you have to chase it. So you always have that fourth option. And then I'll do that, right? So if those are basically the 4 outcomes. You actually cover more. You cover these first 3 by being on this side of the field. But because you go midfield, try to be ready for a pass, you're no longer covering these first like 2 options in this side of the field. Yeah. The only option that you're covering here is if he gets a pass to you or if it goes booming across, right? So you're only covering these 2. So just based off of like statistics and, numbers and probabilities and, percentages and all that stuff, it would be better to just stay positioned here. Does that make sense? So you can cover more. And you can always go infield for a shot, and you can always go for more. You can always turn and cover more ground. But if you're too far away from the play, then to even get to your teammate, even if you're midfield, I mean, look how far away you are just to kind of come and carry the ball after him.
Yeah.
So one thing to note there, maybe try to stay a little bit closer to your teammate because, now that you're midfield and you're actually over the midfield line, which is even worse because now, the only option now you have is when you get a pass.
Yeah.
So now for you, if you were originally positioned here or roughly here, now you could have gone for this ball probably. And you might even have a shot depending on, say you were going like, say this midfield boost was open, then you could potentially just get a shot on net. Something like that.
Yeah.
And now, in addition, something I didn't even mention is now that your teammate is rotating out, now you're trying to turn into the play and he almost hits you. Whereas if you were positioned on the left, you could be going for this ball and there wouldn't be any sort of overlap there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons. Ooh, not bad. I don't know if you were planning to hit it across, but that's actually a pretty decent idea if you can do it. Because there's nobody over there. I'd say your other option, though, is probably just catch it and go for a 50-50. Yeah, you don't even need to jump here. It's going to land in front of you on the ground. You have a pretty decent catch. So if you don't jump, you can just catch it and go for a 50-50. I'd say that's probably your better option.
I don't think I'm thinking that's long because when trying to do the dribbling overhaul, I suck.
Gotcha.
I always lose traction of the ball.
Right. I will say, like, this catch here, it's actually not on your car, right? So it's going to actually hit the very front of your car, like right here. It's not going to be on the top. So this actually, when you catch this, if you don't jump here, it should, I believe, if I'm kind of getting this correct, it should go off your car and then it should roll on the ground. So that way you can jump after it and, get a 50-50 here is the idea. So that would be the best case scenario, I think. Ooh, okay. So another thing, I just want to point out the positioning again. You're trying to stay relevant with the play, which is fine. But now that you're underneath the ball, you only have like this field of view, right? You don't know where this guy is. You don't know that he's coming onto the play. You don't know that he's going to try to go for a shot. So I think a better position here would be to not go for this play right away, but maybe do a little bit more of a wide turn like this. So that way you can kind of see more field of view here. So that way you know that he's going to be going on this ball. Obviously, depending on how high this ball is, you may not always have that option, right? But I'm saying in general, I think you're underneath the ball here. If you're underneath the ball, I think you're kind of forcing yourself to go, because then if you don't, he's going to dunk you. He might go for a shot and might get a goal.
Yeah.
But it's the point that, like, you don't know that he's going is my point. Because now that you don't know that, you don't see that, you kind of have to go. Because, if you look from here, you can't see the other guy. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you don't know, and you kind of are forced to go and hit it to the corner or see what's going to happen, So, yeah. And now you're like, oh, no, I got to save it. Whoa, that was not the bounce I was expecting. Holy.
No.
He got an insane. So that wasn't even going to go in first. But then, oh man, he got the luckiest corner bounce of his life, because that was the best spot for that ball to be. That's hard to shoot. Holy. Yeah, so honestly, I think this challenge here, you're so far away from the play. You can see how far away you are from the play versus this guy.
Yeah.
So especially what I call forcing the play, you're forcing the play too much, because you're up, you're tied 2-2, and your first priority should not be to score. It should be to not get scored on.
Yeah.
So I think that, just in general, maybe just let this ball, because you see he's still facing the play. He's still facing the ball. And he just picked up that 100 boost. So maybe just turn around and fake challenge. Just do one of these.
Yes. So like better shadow.
Yeah. Perfect. Yep. Yeah, because then even if you turn around, this other guy, Junker here, well, his name is not Junker, but for me it is. Then you can challenge him a little bit better. But now, because you forced yourself into the play, now you got to kind of do the best you can.
Awkward situation.
Yeah. See, now you're behind him, but now you're like, oh, well, now I can challenge again. But from the start, this could have been way different had you just gone for a better challenge there.
Gotcha.
Ooh, good save by your teammate. Ooh, not bad. This looks more to me like a bit more of a mechanical mistake, right? Just because you had the bounce set up and you're like, oh, I can probably get a nice power shot here. But so I'm not going to dock you too many points for that. But I like the idea. But just one thing to note too is that, I mean, look how far back you are. You know what I mean? Like the chance of you actually getting a shot from here all the way across into net and to a point where he can't save it is probably pretty little. if you're really good at getting a power shot and just shooting it high, then yeah, it is possible. And I could probably do it as well. I'd say, if you can just get it on target pretty strong, it's probably going to go in. But
Yeah.
just in general, if you're shooting from this far back, it's probably less likely that it's going to go in. So you have time here to actually just push the ball up forward more and dribble this. I think this would be a good opportunity for that. Because you can see, even though it's bouncing, it's not bouncing very high. And you have the boost. Yeah. So this would be a perfect opportunity to just dribble it. There you go. I like the boost steal. And that one. Ooh, okay. So again, I think this is a scenario where you're pushing up a little too quick. So your positioning here is pretty good, right? So you did the back post rotation, which is awesome. So you came in the net. Now you're facing this way, which is good. Just keep in mind that the farther you push up here, again, you have half of, almost maybe 40% of the net is behind you. So just keep in mind of that. So if this pinches out, and it could go in the back of your net, or say he passes midfield, well, now just to save that last half, you have to turn around in this way to make a save. So be careful of pushing out too far.
Yes.
But you can see that happening here too, is as the play is developing. See how you're pushing out a net? So now by the time, this guy hasn't even gone for the ball yet, right? This guy is still going on the play. So now by the time he goes for it and it pinches center, like, you're already here. So now 80% of the net is actually behind you. Whereas, so I would say just wait for just another second. Wait and see what's going to happen here, because you don't know what's going to happen. This could pinch. This guy could get beat. It could go along the corner. It could pinch center. It could pinch just straight in your net for all you know. You know what I mean? You kind of have to be ready. And again, like I said, your first priority, don't get scored on.
Yes.
So does that make, yeah. So I'd say if you just waited for just a little bit longer, it would be better here.
It's common mistakes.
Yeah.
It's the same mistakes I do. I think I do a lot of them,
I'll try not. I just want to point it out because
I
noticed it.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
So.
But nice job on trying to get the. I like how you're patient here. I'd say, yeah, this is one of those situations where if you're more comfortable with dribbling, this would be another good opportunity here. Maybe take off ball cam. I think the idea would be that if you take, just go into car camera and go underneath the ball, you can catch it right here underneath the ball. And you'll be able to see that this guy, even if he challenges you, you can just, flip and try to hit it over him, right? Or if he challenges you, then you flip into it, maybe you hit it with the backside of your car and pop it up. You kind of have some options, right? Or, if anything, if he challenges you, then okay, well, I can just flip into it forward and try to get it past him. So you have a couple options. I'd say maybe try to slow the play down a little bit. I like how you did, you kind of waited for a little bit, but I'd say you could wait a little bit longer and force him to go. Because, yeah, now that fact that you're hitting the ball, you're giving away ball possession right away. You didn't even give yourself an opportunity to shoot. Ooh, nice. Okay, so I like the fact that you don't flip here. If you flip, you're going to go on... If you flip here, you're actually going to flip towards their backboard. And you're committing to the play. So this entire time, if you flip, you land on their backboard, or maybe you don't, right? Maybe you just bounce off of it if you're not good at like landing and good at recoveries. Then you also have to not only get down to the ground and drop back. But and that'll take multiple seconds, right? Just for you to get back into position behind him. So I like the fact that you drove on the wall, because now at this point you can just drive straight down the wall and drop back right away. So I like that. So yeah, good bump there too. Okay, so I think during this, I think your best option, I know you want to be center for a pass, but if you think about it from this perspective, from this position, like, you're dropping down and you're dropping back, and the ball is going. Here, let me just pull up the marker. So the ball is going this way, and your teammate is going this way, and you are going this way. The chance of him getting an an instant pass to you is very, very small, right?
Yeah.
So, I'd say your best option here now is probably just try to rotate behind the play like this, and be ready. So again, that way, so now as the ball comes in here, you can cover if it goes downfield, you can cover if it goes midfield for a pass. You can cover those options again, being ready and closer to the play. Whereas now, because you're going center, the only options you cover is if he passes it to you, or if it just pinches, or if they have a bad save or whatever, right? If it goes center, you're only covering that one option.
Yeah.
So I'd say just stay away from the play. This is a scenario again where you're going underneath the ball too much, and now your field of view is only like this. This is the second time this has happened, and you don't really know when this guy is going to go. So you don't really have a whole lot of options. You see how being so close to the ball sometimes is kind of a bad thing?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because, yeah, now that you're underneath it, he's already clearing it. This could, in a GC lobby, this would be a shot on your net or a pass. This would be way over your head already. So I think a better option would be just to just drop back. Because, yeah, now, again, this is the second time. You see how awkward it is. Just because you're trying to stay so close to the play, but that's not the right time. I'd say just drop back. Ooh. I want to watch this from your... That's a good, decent shot. Actually, one thing to note here, just from your teammate, I'd say a better thing to do here is double jump. Right here. See how he only single jumps? It only gets the ball up so high. I think a better option would be to double jump. It'll get the ball up a little bit higher. So by the time it comes down, it's actually going to land here in the middle of the net. So he can, just with a single jump, this guy can save it. But if you double jump from this situation, you can actually get it much higher. You might be able to get it over the guy. So just one thing to know.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. So
I should have hold the outline there.
yeah, outline on the boost. Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, see, you're going midfield, but he was pushing the ball up this side. Yeah, he was pushing the ball on this side. Yeah, the ball may have been a little bit more middle, but you can always turn back and go this way. So yeah, again, just grab the outlines of the boost. You picked it out even before I even said it.
Yeah, and I'm making the situation just awkward for myself.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, so I really like that you did not go for this ball. Because this entire time, you don't know where your teammate is. You could see this as an opportunity to score. Yeah. But I like your discipline. I like the fact that you don't go for this ball. Because it shows that you are like, okay, I don't know where my teammate is. I know I probably don't have the time to shoot this. They've probably got it covered. So I like the fact. This is probably the smartest thing you've done this whole game. Actually. Is to not go for the ball. You know what I mean? When you don't need to.
Yeah.
There you go. I like the backup there. That was good. So yeah, I think the important thing here is see how you break. Now you're going pretty slow. You're waiting for the play to come to you. That's perfect. Yeah. You're in a good spot here. You're good up until this point. Now at this point, your teammate is ahead of you. You should just immediately just drop back. See how you're facing forwards. I would say I'd maybe just sit right here and face this way like this.
Yes.
So that way you're just ready. But now because you're pushing out, you're like, oh no, I got to progress the play. Well, you guys don't have the ball. You got to let him go for it. He's already ahead of you. He doesn't see you, right? From his perspective, he doesn't know. He might not know, he may have ball cam on. He may not see you. So he probably thinks he's forward, and he is. So you just got to let him go for it first. You should just back up and cover the net. But now, because you're trying to be on the ball way too fast, you got to let him get the ball first. This is, you guys are way too close together. And you guys kind of both do the little back and forth thing. But your idea here to back up is good. I'd say maybe just do it a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. And then the same thing applies, right? So he's still forward. I mean, just look how far you have to come just to get to the ball, right? You know, he's still on it. All he's got to do is just turn down and he'll be there. Whereas you have to come like this. And say you come in this direction, right? What are you going to do in this scenario if you're coming here, right? Your only option is to just hit it off the wall. Hit it to the
And
wall,
put it
right?
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas,
put it into the midfield.
Yeah, your ideal position here would be kind of do what he does and get behind the ball, right? But again, look how long that is versus him just turning and getting it. So, yeah, I'd say you're trying to progress the play. You're trying to force the play too early. It's not always a bad thing, right? So, like in comms, this would not be a bad scenario if you are in comms with your teammate and say he has 0 boost, then yes, you can go for this. Because, you know, the scout here is not going to get to the ball. So you can actually, this is not a bad decision all the time. It's only in this scenario when now your teammate is trying to push up with you. Not a bad shot, actually. I like that. Ooh. Yeah, if you're gonna go for their boost, you got to get their boost.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe going for this boost in the first place is not the best idea because if you already look, by the time you land... Actually, I will say you have a good recovery here. You used air roll really well. You said you struggle with it, but I think on recoveries and stuff, like your landings, you did pretty good there.
Yeah, I'm getting better at recoveries, but when I have to use it when I'm doing aerials, it's fucked up.
Right, yeah. When you actually have to control the ball, it's a little harder than just your car. Yep. But yeah, so you can see, like, they're already at the half field line. All he has to do is just get it past your teammate, and it's a free net. So I don't blame you for going for this boost, right? You know, especially when you think he's got a hit. You know, you think you have time. But yeah, it's, you know, if you don't drive down the mid and just get all the pads, that way you have basically 100 when you come back to net. But yeah, especially it's bad because you don't get that boost. Damn, you were pretty close to it. I'm surprised you didn't. Man, yeah, look at how close you are to the circle there. That sucks. All right. I'm guessing you were trying to go for a bump there. Obviously, you were kind of touching cars a little bit. Not bad. Ooh, I love your rotation. That's good. That was good. So yeah, this is the second time now. You don't know where the other guy is. You know, you can use use your camera, use your right stick, and try to see where he is, or just take bulk, or go into car camera, and just hit this up the wall. But you'll be able to see now from this perspective. If you go in car cam, you'll be able to see where he is. So. I think if I go to hard attach, yeah, so this is kind of like more what you would see, so you'd be able to see that he's there, and he's not challenging you. So yeah, maybe just a little bit more camera usage would be better there, because now you just gave up the ball for no reason. Not bad. I'd say this flip is probably not necessary because he's got a decent touch here. So you can kind of just chill back a little bit more. I think this is very subtle. It's not as bad as before. I think this is a similar situation. See how close you are? Now, again, this is a scenario where you're underneath the ball more and you don't have a lot of opportunity. Whereas if you just stayed a little bit farther back, you would be able to drive like this quicker. But now because you're here, you have to kind of get behind the ball and do like one of these just to be able to get a decent shot.
Yeah.
So now I think this is it's not as bad, right? But now because you're so close to the play, you're basically just hitting it this way into the corner. So by the time this goes this way, you don't really have a shot on net. So it's not as bad, but it's the same situation, I think. Because yeah, by the time you're underneath the ball the whole time, so you don't really have a good opportunity to do anything with it. Ooh, good rotation here. I like this. Yes, perfect. That was awesome. That's a good job. I just want to point it out just because I like pointing out good habits as well. Yeah, you did the parallel thing here. You came in perfectly at the good time to get the ball. So that was awesome.
Thanks.
I'm just going to watch that from fly view here. That was perfect. Yeah, you're waiting for your teammate to go. You're parallel with it. You come along. And one thing to note is see how far back you are. You're coming into net. It would be bad to challenge this ball early like this, unless you know you have it, right? So I like the fact that you went all the way back. That was perfect because then you pushed it out. You did the exact thing that you should have done because now you push it away from your net. Whereas if you challenge like this, you're more tempted to push the ball this way. And if you get a bad touch, then it sits here in the middle, and then they have an opportunity to score again. So you did the perfect thing there. That was awesome. Ooh. Okay, yeah. I suppose you probably know that your teammate's back at this point. Yep. Yeah, you know he's back. Not bad. Ooh, that was my point. So you see how the difference there when you double jump? See how much higher the ball gets there? That was good. That's kind of what I mean by shooting, too, sometimes. You can double jump. You know, if you don't always have to flip, but a double jump is really good, too. Ooh! Oh, my God! You just popped off. That was insane. Oh, my God. What a ground pinch. That guy was not expecting that. I want to watch that from that guy's perspective.
I'm getting really good at them at the time.
Oh my God, that was insane. I would not be able to save that. Oh my God, that was awesome. Okay, one last point on the defense from this guy. So one thing I wanted to point out. So there's sometimes have to think of a line between the ball and like his goal, right? And now, because he was coming this way, you try not to cross this line as much as you can. So that's why we talk about, like, so say the ball is coming on your side, you know, how it was before when you made the save. You know, the ball is coming this way. You know, you come along parallel with it, and you only cross it when you need to, you know, in your side. So you can cross it early at any point, and then you can make the save this way, right? So that's what you did. The difference here on this guy, why it's bad for him, is because he crossed it early. So now you can actually shoot on this side of the field and this side of the net. You can shoot on this 80% of the net. And now he has to turn around again. So that whole turn here is what screws him. Whereas if he just, the better thing for this guy to do, just for everybody else to know this too, the better thing here would be to just turn around and go like this. You know, or turn around and do one of these, like a loop, right? Yeah. Because in that way, he can cover more of the net on his side.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, before I make the pass to myself, I think I can see him trying to go for the ball.
Yeah. Yep. Which is not a bad thing, right? Like, you know, obviously, yeah, you're trying to see, like, okay, he might challenge me here, so I'll just try to shoot it, which is, you know, it's fine. But you see how awkward it is. Oh, gotcha. Let me watch it.
I think from the corner, yeah. I think I can see him turning into the ball there.
Yeah.
And then
it's hard to tell, but look how far away he is here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the double jump there though. That was good. And then yeah, you see how awkward that is for him though? How he has to turn. Whereas yeah, if he just stayed midfield, like right here, it would be behind him, but then he would be able to turn back a little quicker. But because it's over his head, now it's super awkward for him. So you can see the difference there, where he did not, you know, he didn't shadow, you know, the ball's coming this way. Yeah, he didn't go like this, or he didn't do one of these. So, yeah, it makes it super awkward for him. So, yeah, nice. Overall, that was insane. Dude, that. I wish I could shoot like that every single time. That was insane.
Maybe there's also a little bit of luck there, but...
Yeah. Ooh, good kickoff, too. I'd say it's maybe not bad to go for this, but I like the fact that you just went back to your corner boost. That was good. Yeah, again, you have a lot of momentum here, right? So by the time you jump, I mean, look away how far away you are from this play. You know, all he has to do is just get one little touch and it's over you, which is what happens. You see how far away you are from the play.
Yeah.
So again, I'd say maybe just break here. You know that the ball is going in the air, right? By this time, he's not going to magically, like, he's underneath the ball, right? Like, look how hard that is to shoot, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, he would have to hit the ball, like, right here and shoot it down from here. You know what I mean? So, like, that would be insanely difficult to shoot it from this perspective. Almost impossible.
So, too much speed for me there.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's the same situation a lot of the time now, is that, like, yeah, you're trying to fly in and make a play here way too fast. Because, yeah, if you look, his hit is not that hard. You know, obviously he tried to get it over you because you're going. But I think he would have had a similar hit no matter what. And if anything, even if this is on target, you can always just still go for it. I'd say maybe just wait a tad, like a little bit longer. Ooh, nice aerial there. I like how you covered it. You were like, okay, I got to go high. Got to block him because you're already up. So, yep, you went on top. You air rolled. That was perfect. And you landed with your wheels on the wall. Nicely done. So, yeah, overall not bad. I'd say, yeah, a lot of the things that we pointed out was, you know, the rotations. Maybe when you go in net, it's either, I think a lot of it is the timing of knowing, like, okay, wait, you know, either wait for the play a little bit longer or slow down and wait a little bit longer. I think you're probably trying to go a little too fast sometimes. And I think you tend to stay underneath the ball a lot. You know, so if the ball, you know, is like right here, you know, try to stay away from the play. So that way you can kind of make a better, you know, you can kind of come into the play rather than trying to stay underneath it. You know, a lot of your field of view sometimes is only like so little. So yeah, I'd say that'd probably be some of the biggest things that we saw in this replay. What do you think?
I think you have right.
Yeah. I will say I like your recoveries. Your recoveries are decent. As far as like landing on the wall and stuff like that. Like I didn't really see you bouncing around like a lot, you know. It did happen a couple times, but you know, even like high lobbies and even pros, that happens sometimes depending on, you know, where you are. So, not bad. I'm actually going to go into free play. We can kind of go over some air roll stuff here.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go over like a bunch of stuff real quick. I'm just going to go over like the dribbling, right? So I'm going to kind of slow down. I'm going to go over a lot of the dribbling in terms of like, I don't know, no offense, as if you were like gold or platinum, right? Just of like what I tell people to start with, and then we can kind of work our way up from there. So a lot of the times people... Go ahead.
I just got the... I'm switching between Diamond 3 and Champ.
Okay. So I'm sorry this is not just specifically for you, but it's also for other people. I got to start somewhere, right?
It's okay. I'm terrible at dribbling.
Yeah, so I'd say a lot of people have a hard time just keeping the ball in their car, let alone getting the ball in their car, right? So a good place to start is just to roll the ball in any direction and just go ahead of it, right, and get a straight line. That way, and one thing you can do like an exercise if you're not good at like workshop maps is to just dribble down the length of the field like this and just try to get it in the net. You know, do lengths back and forth. It's a good, you know, if you're not good at keeping the ball on top of your car, that's a good place to start. That way you can practice going up and down the field. It's, you know, a little bit more realistic training than like workshop maps sometimes.
Yeah, because when I do the overhaul, I don't know, because I think when would you start to take the ball up from there if it standing still? Because
so what you tend to do,
I'm always confused is I have to boost a little amount into it or just drive normal into it.
Yeah, so you don't want to, you know, obviously the ball is stationary, right? So like you don't want to just drive into it really hard. You don't want to boost back here. You want to come up to the ball, then you want to boost as close as you can to it, right? So now you want to boost into it to keep it up. So similarly, so if it's like this, sometimes I may not be able to pick this ball up. because it's rolling with me, right? So your better option is to come along the side of it. So that was the next thing I was going to talk about. Is sometimes if the ball is rolling, or especially if it's like bouncing just a little bit, your better option is to come along the side of it. So the other option to pick up the ball instead of doing one of these is to get it rolling, come on the side, you know, you turn on car camera, match the ball speed, you know, see I'm not going ahead of it, I'm not going behind it, and just turn into the ball. You know, sometimes you don't even have to focus on getting the ball on top of your car, but you can see how I'm turning the ball.
Yeah.
I have constant touches on it. I'm doing circles. I can do that all day. So you may not even have to focus on getting the ball on top of your car just yet, but you can go and practice getting the ball in your car from here. So that way, you know, if you do what I just did, you know, you get behind it, well then you know, okay, maybe I wasn't far enough forward. If I try to cut into it and I'm constantly doing that, it means you're not getting underneath the ball or getting ahead of the ball as much.
Yeah.
So I would practice picking up the ball from here or from the ground. Then, you know, like how we were doing the circles on the ground, now we're going to try to do circles and figure eights on the car.
Yeah.
And notice how I'm not using any boost during this. You try not to use boost, right? So it becomes all these like little touches that you have to do and like little adjustments. We call them micro movements. So that way, you know, if you boost, as Luke says in his trainings, that if you tend to boost more, it means your movements are big, right? You're moving very quickly, like left to right and forwards. So we want to maybe slow down a little bit, get the ball in our car. You know, you can boost a little bit if you need to, just to get the ball on top of your car, right? But once you get it on top of your car, try not to boost as much as you can. I'm just going to keep going up from here. So once we get the ball on our car and we kind of tend to do these figure eights, what you can do from here then, if you want to practice a little bit more game stuff, is practice getting the ball in your car. And if I'm going to turn, say I'm going to turn to the left, we're going to practice a flick to the left. So as I drive and pick up the ball, I'm going to flip to the left as I go through the ball. So here, I'm going to try to drive to the right and flick to the right. You know, sometimes you're not going to get it all the time, right, depending on your speed. But that is much better because now you can see I can still follow it up. A lot of times what people do is they try to get front foot flicks a lot of the time. But even something like this, oops, that can happen too. But even if
that's happening for me.
Yeah, even if you front foot flick this, I guess I'm having a hard time doing it. But if you get rid of the ball, right? If like say I shoot this, sometimes I may end up back here, and if I push the ball too far forward, I may not be able to follow up after it. So the idea is that you only flick on target when you need to. Otherwise, do side foot flicks. I can still catch it. I'm still a threat. So that's one exercise that you can do. So we talked about the exercises of just getting the ball in your car, going down the length of the field, getting the ball on top of your car, you know, doing turning like this. So, you know, just like how we do the workshop maps for timers, maybe try to set a timer on your phone and see how long you can go. Or maybe a better idea is to just go into a private match just by yourself, because then you can use the in-game timer, you know, on the score.
Yeah.
And then just see how long you can go without boost. You know, then you can practice flicks like that. I would maybe try to encourage you to just practice side flicks like that, because then you can practice catching it afterwards again. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this, but it'll get you really comfortable with touching the ball a lot, you know, those very small movements. Actually, believe it or not, these small movements are the same thing. You get really comfortable being close to the ball. So you'll actually get way more comfortable with applying this to air drags as well, or air dribbles, because now I'm comfortable touching the ball a lot, very close. See how I get a lot of touches there? That's the idea.
Yeah.
So I get comfortable. You see how we talked about picking the ball up on the ground, of knowing when to boost, right? You don't want to boost a lot when you pick this ball up. You know, you only want to boost just enough to get it on top of your car. The same thing applies in the air. If I boost a lot right here, I just hit it away from me. Now my only option is to get 2 touches.
Yeah, I think that's my problem, because maybe can I get one hit off the ball?
Yeah, you see how I'm feathering it.
And then I'm losing the ball.
Yeah, you got to feather your boost a little bit. It's all about matching the speed of the ball here. So if I'm far away, I want to maybe feather my boost until I get to the ball, and then just hold down boost if you need to.
Okay, so when you're driving up the wall, because I have a problem when I try to go out for the ball, either overjump or I
Sure. I'll go over
pushing
that.
the ball too hard.
Sure. I'll go over that now, actually. So a lot of people, I call this like the universal setup, right? So it's going to be the same setup for air drags or air dribbles. It'll be the same for passing center to a teammate if you need. It'll be the same for doing rebounds or double taps. It'll be the same for doing jump resets or ceiling shots. So I'm just going to do it a couple times and I'll show you what it looks like for different things. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the setup for an air drag. So I'm going to get up the wall, hit it on the wall. Now, like we talked about, I'm going to feather my boost and and I'm going to use the majority of my boost is used in the air.
Okay, right? So when you feather your boost, you're like tapping it.
Yep. See how little I used it there in the beginning? Now I'm holding it down.
Yeah. I think my problem is I'm holding it down from when I jump out the wall.
Yeah. So I'm going to use the same setup. So now I'm going to wait longer, stay on the wall. Now I'm going to boost out to it and front flip. So now that would be more for like a pass, right? Yeah. So, ideally I would just do something like this. I could pass to my teammate who's downfield. A better option actually would be to just come up and you kind of go more sideways like this. So that way I can pass to my teammate maybe down who's closer to me. Or you can pass across field. But the idea is that, you maybe wait a little bit longer and instead of jumping and hitting it towards the net, you wait, hit it, and jump and front flip into it to get rid of it. Then the same thing applies to like a jump reset. Instead of going for like an air dribble here, I'm going to turn my car upside down. Then you try to go for the reset. That's a little bit more advanced, I think, but the same thing applies as like the air drag. Instead of going for the first touch for an air dribble, I'm going to go for my first touch as being upside down. Yeah. For a ceiling shot, instead of going more towards the net, I'm actually going to hit it underneath it and just drive towards the ceiling more. That way I can follow it. But you see, the wall setup has basically been the same. So this would be something that I would actually do in game. Like that's what it would look like if you wanted to go off the ceiling. And then actually the same thing, last thing I'm going to apply this to is hitting rebounds. So instead of going towards the net, we're going to combine the air drag or air dribble, and we're going to combine that with the flip of passing to our teammate. So instead of passing out center like this, I'm actually going to pass it to the backboard, to myself.
Yeah.
Oh, almost went right by itself. There we go. But you get the idea. That instead of passing to your teammate, you'd pass to yourself. I want to see if I can get one. There we go. So now I'm going to go over the actual setup first. I'll watch this real quick. Pretty decent. The actual setup itself, you want to be in car cam a majority of the time when you're on the ground, right? Get used to maybe add. I forgot to mention before that you can add drift as well, Powerslide, when you practice your dribbles, right? Maybe do little turns with Powerslide. Anyways, so what you want to do is, like, say I'm in game. Obviously, you're not going to always have the perfect time for the setup, but you're going to pick your angle. Once you stay with your angle, you want to not turn your car as much as you can. What I see a lot of people do in the beginning is they'll do something like this. They'll have their angle, then they'll go turn left, go behind the ball, and hit it like that.
That could be me.
Yeah, I'm sure. And it's what I did for the longest time, right? It's because you're like, oh, well, I want to hit it towards the net. Well, now, look, I don't really have a whole lot here. I just have maybe one more touch if you're really good. So
get more under the ball.
Yep. I'm going to do the same thing with car camera just to exaggerate it. You can see how that's not very good. So the difference here is that once you get your angle, I'm going to stay with it the whole time. I'm not going to turn my car until I'm in the air. That just makes it more consistent. So even if I'm going towards the orange net, even if it's like this, I'm still not going to turn. A majority of your turning is actually going to be in the air. So I'm just going to watch that real quick just to show you. You can see how far up I'm going. A lot of your adjustment is in the air.
Yeah.
And one last thing I'm going to exaggerate with this is you don't have to be going very fast. So I'm not even going to use boost on the ground, but I'm going to follow it. The only thing I'm going to use boost for is the initial little pop. And you'll see that I do that every single time, basically. Try to use a little bit of boost just to get the little pop. You can see how it wasn't going very fast, right? But I am going at the top of the net is my height. So I got it once. Now, even if I get like a couple touches, right? You don't always have to have the same control that I do. But I'm about at the top of the net. So if I can get that on target, it's going to be, you know, pretty high up. So even if I do this and just get one touch, maybe I get two, that's potentially a good shot. But you can see I'm not going very fast on the ground itself. It's mainly just what you do in the air is what counts.
Yeah.
So going back to the setup then, I'm going to get my angle. Now that I have my angle, I like to turn ball cam on because I know that I like to see more of the field and a lot of my adjustment is going to be in the air. So I like to get my setup, get the angle that I want, and then turn ball cam on. Now, I see a lot of people, what they do is they tend to be too slow. So by the time they boost into it, now look how far away the ball is. I don't really have a whole lot here. The difference there is that I was too far away from the ball. You want to have 1 to 2 car lengths. Because now by the time I hit it, I can stay with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep going now. So I'm dribbling, have car cam on, get my angle. Now I turn ball cam off, or ball cam on. What I tend to do to get the right distance is actually, you know, you can brake if you have to, but I tend to let go of the gas. So I have my setup. I'm going to let go of gas. Then I'm going to boost up. Now, every single map has this line here. This means above this line is just a flat wall. You always want to hit it on this side of the wall. You never want to hit the ball in this area.
Okay, so you want to hit it after the
line. And I'll show you what that looks like if you do that. See how I hit it so far up? You never know like what angle you hit. So if I hit it right here, it's just going to go up the wall.
Yeah.
And so you know that if every time you hit it above the line, you know what the hit is going to be. So if I try to hit it like that, see how it hits the ceiling? That's not what I want. So you got to hit it. You got to wait until at least like right here to hit the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep going. So I got my angle, got my dribble, then turn ball cam on, let go of gas. Then I wait for it to get up the line. Then I hit the ball. I tend to boost a little bit into it as well. Then after you hit the ball, you jump pretty much immediately after it. So now that's the setup. Now the rest of it is just adjusting in the air. You know, doing a little air roll. You know, what I like to tell people is just air roll first to get their wheels to the ground. That way it's like normal, right? Because it might be a little hard, especially if you go more to the side like this. Now it's like, okay, well now I don't know. I actually have to tilt back my car to get to the ball. And you may not know to do that. So it might be a little easier if you just reset yourself to 0. Now I know, okay, I just got to boost forward into it. It's much easier. You can just break it down a little bit.
So maybe first focus on get the ball out and turn your car.
Yep. Because then the rest of it is just air control, right? Of just knowing when to boost and just, you know, keeping the nose of your car hitting the ball.
Yeah.
So that's what it might look like. I'm trying to like, no offense, I'm trying to like dumb it down. So this is what it might look like in the future.
It's so fine.
You know, even if you get 2 touches, that's an air drag into the net, which is pretty good. So, and then eventually, you know, you can do, you know, if you feather your boost, you do it right. You know, you can get constant touches all the way to the net. And then the only difference there is the part in the air. Because the setup has been the same this whole time.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about that so far?
I think you're coming all around those things.
Awesome. Again, you can see even when I'm with the ball, I'm not boosting very far now because I'm so close to it. You can see I'm feathering my boost. I'm still feathering my boost this whole way through.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it all starts, you notice how I started with just being able to pick the ball up and being able to dribble it. It gets you really comfortable being close to the ball, and then that'll actually really help you out with the air drags and stuff too. Unlucky. So hopefully that makes sense.
It does.
All right. Did you have any other questions or anything about that?
The air drag or the dribbling?
Anything.
Not right now. I'm sure they maybe will come.
Okay. Yeah. I think if you keep doing this and keep practicing this setup, if you get the same setup every time, I mean, you can see even just me messing around in free play, I can do the same thing every time, right? If you can get to the point where you can get the setup like this every time, you'll be way better in no time. So you said you sometimes struggle with, going back to what you said in your notes about this session, you said you sometimes struggle with like the car control and stuff. I think if you start from the ground up, you start with your dribbling, you start to get used to dribbling on the ground like this and being able to dribble without boost. You get used to being really close to the ball. Then you start to incorporate that into this setup here. You get used to, air dribbling or air dragging it, being really close to the ball as well. You do both of them at the same time, really.
Yeah.
I think it'll really help you that way. Because then, you'll already be good at dribbling, and then all you have to practice then at this point is just your aerial control, Because everything else you'll be done with. You can do it.
Yeah.
So then at that point, it's just knowing what to do with your car, But then that just comes with time. I can't really help you out there a whole lot, Of like knowing when to air roll and knowing when to do this kind of stuff. It just comes with time, I could go in more depth about that stuff later, but I think if you start with the other stuff first, that'll be a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's always. I think I only have 800 hours in the game. I think.
Yeah.
That's not that much, so.
Yeah.
I
have over
all
6,000 hours, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
I take all what I can learn from people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a lot of hours in this game. I have over 6,000 just on one account. So I've put a lot of time into this, I hope it shows, you know what I mean? Even just me messing around, I hope it shows to everybody that may be watching this later too, is that like, it looks pretty simple, but if you think about it, it all starts from the ground.
Yeah.
So the rest of it is just air mechanics,
That's a good point to point out, because I think many people, I'm talking to for myself also, they just want to do the amazing things,
Yeah.
Like
that.
I never trained dribbling, but I constantly focus when I'm starting to put all my energy into running. I focus on my aerial instead of focus on dribbling instead of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people have the same problem, right? They just see all the pros and they see all the freestylers and they're like, man, I want to do that. Yeah. But it really comes down to if you can set yourself up for it. If you get consistent at that, then all you have to do is just focus on the air part.
Yeah. But like you said, it's come with time and get the ground first.
Yeah, definitely. So
that was a good point.
Awesome. All right, man. Did you have anything else for me? Otherwise, I think I'm gonna head out.
Not right now, but I think they maybe will come. I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Always book another session if there's
definitely
some questions or something.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you think it's a question I can answer over Discord, you can message me anytime too. By the way.
Yes, of course.
All right, man. I think that's all I have. I'm gonna